Hello and welcome to Mindful Living, where we explore the art of living with the intention, balance, and inner peace. I am Avik, your host, guiding you through conversations on health, meditation, mental well being, mindfulness, and the mind body connection. Each episode features expert insights to help you grow, heal, and thrive. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join us on this journey to a more mindful and fulfilling life. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome, listeners, to the Mindful Living podcast, where we dive into topics that help you live with greater awareness, purpose, and mental clarity. I'm your host, Sana, and today we are thrilled to be joined by Amy Rosner, a PhD in experimental neuropsychology, certified hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, and author of the number one Amazon best-selling book, Reconstructing Reality, Outsmarting the Brain to Rewrite Our Life Stories. Amy's book has been a bestseller since it was released last December, listeners, and now she's introducing a brand new companion workbook. Amy's work focuses on helping people outsmart their brains, reprogram their subconscious, and create new real life stories full of possibilities for success. And today on the Mindful Living, we'll explore the science behind these brain hacks, hypnotherapy, and how we can all rewrite our mental scripts to live more empowered lives. So let's get started, listeners. Amy, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor to have you with us.
Oh, the honor is mine. Thank you so much for having me.
Lovely. So, Amy, your book, Reconstructing Reality, has been a huge success. So, congratulations, firstly. And
Thank you. I know. I can't believe it either. It's been, kind of a small category, so I guess it's pretty easy. But yeah, it's been number one, in and out of number one for 3 different categories since it launched in December. So, and then it won a gold medal at the for the
wow.
nonfiction health and fitness category for the Reader's Favorite international book contest. So yeah, it's been a wild ride since December, and it's been really amazing because my main purpose of this was to just get the word out. So it looks like it's getting out there. So I couldn't be happier.
It is. Lovely. And so, can you share what inspired you to write this book and what key message you want readers to take away from it?
My main message is to try to give not just hypnotherapy, but you can see it as a whole group of subconsciously oriented interventions that people can use to tap into this natural reconstructive process, the way the brain works, to give that group of protocols a seat at the table with psychotherapy and with medication for helping people make the kind of changes that they want to make in how they think or feel or behave. A lot of people just see hypnotherapy as something to use to stop smoking or lose weight or something like that. But it really dives much deeper than that. And it's not the typical kind of, watch moving in front of your eyes until you feel sleepy and then let me take over your head and change something kind of misrepresentation that we tend to see on TV and in the movies and that kind of thing. But people who've used hypnotherapy and similar kinds of techniques for a long time, there are people that have been coming into my practice every month for almost 10 years to get on their A game and stay on their A game. And as they keep growing and encountering new challenges that may bring up some old limiting beliefs or some other kind of programming that happens more recently that they'd like to get rid of, it allows them to make those changes really quickly and easily and move forward. And they can deal with what's in the past very quickly and easily as well, so that doesn't impact them moving forward. And I think a lot of people don't see it that way, and so they don't think about that as something to help them with, say, past traumas or something a little more involved than quitting smoking.
That's really great. And you talk about outsmarting the brain in your book. Uh, could you explain what that means in the context of rewriting our life stories, and why is it important for personal transformation?
That's something that it's a phrase that an old mentor of mine used to use,
Uh-huh.
outsmarting the brain. So I'm paying homage to him. But it basically means that we need to get sneaky with brains. Brains are smart,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to get sneaky with them to make changes that we want to make sometimes. Because we can tell ourselves we want to feel a certain way, or we don't want to feel a certain way, or we want to do something or not do something. But just telling ourselves isn't usually enough. We need to go deeper than that and make some kind of real transformative change on an unconscious level in order to make that new standard operating procedure for us. So we need to get sneaky to do that sometimes. So we have this, our brains are protecting us all the time. And so we need to, kind of get in under the radar of that protective mechanism, that selection and filtering mechanisms that we have, and be able to help that brain make some change, physical change at the structural level that is in line with what we want rather than what we're currently doing.
That's interesting. So, with your background in neuropsychology, Amy, how does understanding the brain's natural processes, like, be it memory or attention, help people change their thought patterns and behaviors?
So as a neuropsychologist, I've always been interested in what part of the brain makes you do something in particular, and especially my focus many years ago in school was hemispheric asymmetries and localization of function. And so we have basically two different brains that are connected to one another. We have two different halves, two different hemispheres, a right and a left. And they look very similar, and they are very similar, but not completely. They do have some differences about the way they're structured and the way they operate. And that comes in really handy when you start thinking about how the brain operates when it comes to what you're doing and what you're trying to do differently. Mm-hmm. And so if you're trying to make a change by telling yourself, hey, I don't want to feel this panicky response whenever I'm in this particular situation, whenever I'm driving, for example, I don't want to feel panicky whenever I'm driving, going over a bridge. You can't just tell yourself that and have it happen. Unfortunately, it would be cool if that worked like that, but it doesn't. And there's survival value to that because your brain has at some point decided unconsciously that when you're in a certain situation, namely traveling in your car over a bridge, that can be a scary situation. You might be in danger. So don't do that. Don't put yourself in a potentially dangerous situation. Your brain's job is to help you survive. So it doesn't want you to go into situations that could be dangerous. So in order to get past that, you can't just tell yourself, okay, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid. You can white knuckle it through and you might make it, but it's not going to be pleasant for sure. And sometimes you might not even make it trying to white knuckle it. So it's a lot easier if you can make a change in that programming. And actually that kind of change is very quick and easy. That's usually, within an hour, half an hour, you won't feel that panicky feeling anymore from, some of the kinds of techniques that we can use at a subconscious level. And the reason it's so quick and easy and actually works, and it's not like a pill that wears off, you're making a structural change. You're not making a biochemical one. So it's because we're actually tapping into that natural reconstructive process. So all of our memories, our emotions, everything in the brain works by programming and reprogramming, constantly reconstructing those memories. And so if there's a memory of driving over a bridge that contains a fight or flight response or a panicky response, a fear response, you can reconstruct that memory so that it no longer has that component to it. And by tapping into the way the brain naturally works, it makes it really quick and easy, as opposed to just talking about it a lot, which may actually reinforce those difficult feelings. So it's understanding how the brain works, and that once you start sliding over into that right hemisphere processing, where you can actually make those transformative changes that do that reconstruction really quickly and easily, just makes it so much easier to make those changes. You don't have to really, try. You just have to want it, and it can happen. But if you're not using those kinds of techniques, if you're not taking advantage of how the brain operates, then it could take a while to get past something like that, if you ever get past it.
And you are a certified hypnotherapist. And as you rightly mentioned at the beginning of this discussion, there are still many misconceptions surrounding hypnotherapy for a large part of the world population. So, how does hypnotherapy help people reprogram thoughts or maybe behaviors, and what makes it such an effective tool for self-improvement?
So hypnosis is a natural state that our brains put us in all throughout the day. And we don't usually realize that that's the state we're in. But if we are distracted by something, we'll naturally go into a hypnotic state. If we're overwhelmed, if we're startled, if a pattern is interrupted, like I go to shake your hand, and then before you're able to shake it, I take it away, you automatically move over into that state. And that's moving into a right hemisphere kind of dominant brain activity. If you go to sleep at night, you're going through a hypnagogic state. If you wake up in the morning, you're going through a hypnopompic state. If you're driving and you get to work and you have you take the same route every day and you kind of zone out and you don't remember anything on the way there because you were thinking about other things. You were in what we call highway hypnosis, which is actually a hypnotic state. If you're really in the zone, or what Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi would call in flow state, working on a painting or some code or whatever it is, anything, just organizing things. It could be anything, and you're just on automatic pilot. You're in a hypnotic state. To perform the best at music, sports, whatever it is, to be absolutely at your best, you actually have to be in a hypnotic state. Creative thinking is a hypnotic state. So a lot of people don't realize just how often they're in that state, and they don't realize it. And they think that hypnosis is something that's kind of weird and unnatural. And it's not. It's not magic. It's not voodoo. There's nothing unnatural about it. It's just what we call that shift over to that right hemisphere dominance, where you can easily make those unconscious changes in how you're thinking and feeling. And if you're performing or something like that, you're getting rid of the left hemisphere input of trying to modify your actions so that you can just run on those automatic programs that you have rehearsed so much and your brain knows so well. And so you can perform much better. So that's a big misconception, that people don't even realize what hypnosis is. They think it's something weird or supernatural, and it couldn't be more natural or less weird. So that's the first big misconception. Then another one is that the hypnotist or hypnotherapist has control over your mind when you're in that state. Nobody has control over your mind. In fact, I've never hypnotized anyone but myself. Nobody has. It's all self-hypnosis. I can't force anyone to go into that state. I have some tricks and kind of ninja sneak attacks on the brain that can help you go into that state more easily if you want to, or go a little more deeply into that state. But I can't take over what's going on in your head and change anything. You won't do anything in a hypnotic state that you wouldn't do out of a hypnotic state. So you're in control the entire time, from the very beginning of going into that state to begin with, to making those changes. And that's really cool, because that means that you're the one making those changes, not me. And that results in increased self-confidence and empowerment and, other really good feelings about yourself. You become emotionally stronger, knowing that, hey, I changed this. I couldn't get past that fear when I was driving over bridges for many years. And all of a sudden I was able to do it. I just needed to know how. And if I can do that, then I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, right?
Hmm. That's really eye-opening. And talking about your new companion workbook, to reconstructing reality, it's launching soon. So, can you tell us more about how the workbook complements the original book and what people can expect to gain from using it?
Yeah, so I noticed that there were some reviews of my original book that said that they wished there were some self-help exercises in it. And that book was not written to be a self-help book. It was written to just get the word out about, this group of interventions that can be really helpful for people, and they may not realize that that would be a good option for them to investigate. And when I heard that people wanted self-help exercises, I thought, okay, well, I'll put a workbook together with that's completely self-help. And so it's everything from stress reduction to greater self-love, everything in between, creativity, performance, things like that, everything, greater productivity, like everything that I could, all of the information that I give my clients when appropriate, I put in that workbook. So it is a standalone book. You don't have to read the original book in order to use the workbook, but it will bring up some concepts that you'll recognize if you do read the original book first. So, and then there are also some online tools as well. I have an online community that has an entire self-hypnosis video course in it. It has some instructional videos. It has all of my hypnosis audio files available there. There's a 12-month self-love challenge. There's some brain food recipes in there. There's all kinds of stuff in there. Q&A, I'm in there all the time. If anybody has questions or wants to know more about anything, you can go in there and ask me a question, and I'm right there. So that's available to anyone for free. So anybody can go on my website, and there's a place, you scroll down just a little bit, and it says join us free, and you can click there and go in there, and you can use all of those tools if you want to. The workbook gives you that link as well to use those tools. The paperback is available right now. The ebook is going to be out on October 1st. So that's kind of the formal launch date. And the ebook will be at least partially interactive. So wherever there is a video or an audio file referenced, you'll be able to bring that up in the ebook. So that's kind of cool.
That's really great. Great. And many people find it difficult to change their behaviors even when they know it's necessary. So, how can brain based techniques like the ones you teach help people overcome resistance to change?
That's a really good question. And yeah, that's kind of the bottom line, isn't it? That's we'd all like to be able to change certain things, and sometimes it can be difficult. So that's the whole point of this group of techniques. It's quick and easy, and actually quite a bit of fun. Anybody who's used these processes knows that it can be actually a lot of fun to go through them. There's a lot that you can do on your own, and that's why I saw value in putting a workbook out. It can only go so far, though. There are certain things that may be deeper or more involved with core values that you have about core concepts about yourself, things like that, that tend to be a lot more difficult to do anything about on your own. And so there are places in the workbook where I'll let people know, okay, here's a good time to get help from some practitioner that can, kind of, if you jump down a rabbit hole, they can grab you by the ears and, pull you out, So, but there's there are a lot of things you can do on your own, and a lot of it is just being able to move that dominance of brain activity over to that right hemisphere. There are a lot of ways that you can do that. So you can actually put yourself in that hypnotic state really quickly and easily on demand whenever you want to, immediately. And I show you how to do that. And then once you're in that state, you can give yourself suggestions. You can do some imagery. There are a variety of things you can do that can make a lot of those changes that you would like to make in your behavior or your thoughts or your feelings. And as long as they're more superficial, that will work really well. Like I said, if you get into more complicated or deeper stuff, I always recommend that you don't use some kind of self-help process, a book or whatever, what have you, and that you actually find somebody that you resonate with some kind of technique that will help you, and they'll be there to help if you find yourself kind of, going down that rabbit hole.
Lastly, with your extensive experience, Amy, where do you see the future of hypnotherapy and brain hacking techniques heading? How can they continue to impact personal growth and mental health?
I think it's just going to get bigger here. It's not quite as big in this country as it is, say, in England. It's very big over there. I think that it's getting bigger here, though, and a lot of people, more and more people, are realizing that it's a really great way to make some changes if it's something that you resonate with. If someone doesn't resonate with this idea, it's just like anything else. If you don't resonate with something, then you're probably not going to have much success with it. But if you do, then the sky's the limit as to what you can do. You can even, you don't have to use chemical anesthesia for surgery anymore if you don't want to. I mean, there are all kinds of things you can do that that hypnotherapists can teach you. It's really more not so much a therapy as it is an educational process. So it's just a way of helping people to understand, how they can make changes that they want to make that maybe they weren't taught how to do. And it's kind of a way of talking to yourself differently, and especially of listening to yourself differently. Mm-hmm. So we have to stop listening to that voice that is, constantly babbling at us and bombarding us with, you should do that, or you should be this, or, and instead listen to the real us, which is talking to us not in words, but in images and emotions and body sensations. And when we get that information, then we can do something about it, make some changes. And it comes down to not what we think we should be doing, but what resonates with us. Those are the decisions that we wind up making, is, what resonates with us to give us the life that we want, that's really going to make us happy. So I think it's just going to keep catching on more and more. We don't have any kind of massive organization that's promoting our services. It's just a bunch of little guys like myself trying to make the world a better place, one brain at a time. And I think as we do that, we turn more and more people on to the possibilities. And our success rate is extremely good for whatever you may come in for. So it's a really good first attempt at doing some reprogramming and making a change you want to make, because there are no bad side effects. The only side effects are things like increased self-confidence and empowerment, like I mentioned earlier. So those are pretty good side effects. If you're going to take a chance on some kind of side effects, those are the ones I'd want to have. And worst case scenario, you feel better, you're sleeping better, your stress level is down, and you understand how to listen to yourself better and know how to make some changes in yourself. And you can use something else if more of an intervention is necessary. So worst case scenario is still pretty good. And best case scenario is you no longer have whatever the issue was that you came in with, and you just feel really good, and it never comes back, and you're able to just move forward, unblocked or in a better way. And either way, it's a really good thing for people to try if they're so inclined.
Exactly. It's a win-win situation.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. That's revolutionary, Amy. Well, so if our listeners want to connect with you, Amy, explore more about hypnotherapy, brain hacking, of course, you have mentioned how we can access the book and about the companion workbook as well. How we can do that?
So you can find me and everything that I have to offer at amyrosner.com. And the books, there's a link to my author page on Amazon, so you can reach the books there as well. And like I said, you can also sign up for all those free online tools in that online community where I am all the time. And I'd love to hear from you.
Lovely, lovely. We'll mention all the details in the show notes for our listeners to refer to. I encourage all of our listeners to explore about this, become aware, and try them out. And that brings us to the end of this lovely discussion on the Mindful Living podcast. And thank you so much, Amy, for sharing your incredible insights on how we can outsmart our brains and rewrite our life stories for greater success and fulfillment.
Thank you so much for having me.
And listeners, if today's conversation resonated with you, be sure to check out Amy's best selling book, Reconstructing Reality, Outsmarting the Brain to Rewrite Our Life Stories. And don't forget to keep an eye out for her companion workbook, which will help you dive even deeper into the transformative process she shared with us today. And I would like to add from my end, personal growth and change are within your reach. The brain is a powerful tool, as Amy mentioned, and it can be rewired to support the life you want to create. So, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit from Amy's wisdom. And as always, thank you to everyone for tuning into this episode of the Mindful Living podcast, where we explore the ways to live with more awareness, purpose, and mental clarity. Until next time, stay mindful, stay curious, and take care of yourselves.